Hey guys, how are we doing today? This is Joseph from Jouleconcepts. Today we're going to be looking at creating another product. In my last project tutorial, I had a request from the Tech Plus Pro. So he was asking, he said, thanks for the video, and can you please make Galaxy S20 modeling tutorial? So I'm sorry I didn't really took me time to respond because I was really busy with project. I'm still really busy with project though. So, but that is what this video is all about. So, and mind you, for this tutorial, I'm just going to do the modeling since he said he wants the modeling. So I'm only going to focus on the modeling aspect of the tutorial or of the product. So, but if you want me to texture it, you could just put your comments in the description below so I will know. Then I'll just go ahead with the texture. But I just want to do the tutorial based on what this person has asked, and let's see how it goes. But before we get into the tutorial, please, I would like to tell you to please hit the like button if you like my tutorials and share it with your friends. You don't know who may like it, just hit this button. And if you are new to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button. You will see an icon here for subscribe. You just click that, and because it helps me a lot, and I do tutorials like this every time. So without further ado, let's see how we can do this model. All right, so we are here in Cinema 4D. I'm using Cinema 4D R21 here. And I've also gone ahead to check for some reference images to help me model that. So I learned that product came out, I think, 2-3 months back. So, and it's a really nice mobile phone. So we're going to look at that. So I'm going to go to my front view. F4 takes me to my front view. So now I'll go to the back section and click on this image for me to load a reference image to work with. So I'm going to be working with reference images. So I have this, so I have different colors and that. So I'm just going to pick this reference image and zoom out a little bit. So this is what we have. So I need to arrange this such that this comes to the center, middle of this image. So I'm just going to bring this guy down back until I see something that looks more like the center of it. I think 130 should do it. Oh yeah, it's not bad. 130 should do it. Okay, then I'm going to reduce this opacity. So this is for the front. I'm also going to go to the side. So I just want to set up everything. All right, so I'm going to go to the side view, F3. Then I'm going to load in the same image to the side view. Then I'm going to bring this here. This is what I want to bring over this side. So I'm going to think this is fine here. All right. Then also I'm going to reduce this opacity to help me see the image by the time I'm modeling. So I think 70 should be fine. F4. Okay, let's just make everything consistent. So we have this. So this right here is just more like setting up everything we need. So we'll just go ahead and start modeling. So let's start from the front view. So I'm going to bring down a cube and scale this up. Okay, so you can see that the height is not correlating like we want, but we just need to have this in a rough state really, so it actually doesn't matter. So if you are close to the value, it's not really bad. So I think we just make do with that. Then we have this front view. Then for the side, you can see that this is slightly wide, so we're going to bring this down here. So that is why it is very important for you to set your reference correctly before you start anything. So this is more like the main shape of this object here. So if I bring this over, hold down my Alt key and click on this subdivision surface, See, this is what we're going to have because it has subdivided it and we have so many, the points are far apart. So you get this more curve defined. So what I'm going to do is to start adding segments and points for me to start getting a definition of this image. So I'm going to select this and hit Q to temporarily go out of this and just to disable this. Then if I hit KL for loop selection and be in any of this component mode, then select this guy. Okay, so before you do that, you need to convert this. Sorry about that. So I'm going to click on this icon or hit C on my keyboard to convert. So once this is converted, I now have this point mode. So I'm going to click, because I want this curve to go through this place, I'm going to have a subdivision here and also subdivision here. If I hit Q, you notice what we have. So if you feel that the curve is not defined enough, you can just slide this away from where it is here. Okay, so we could just use our slide tool. Where are you? Okay, slide. So we could select this loop. So UL first to select the loop, Q. If I have this loop selected, then I can use the slide tool. So the shortcut for the slide is MO, so next time. So I'll just slide this here. Then UL to select this, MO to go to slide and slide this here. So once I have that, if you click Q, you start having the definition. So we'll do the same thing here. So KL, click somewhere here, and that solves that part. And for this place also, we already have this vertical part, so we just need this horizontal loop here. So we have that. If I go to the perspective view, we have this. Okay. So the next thing is to start doing the edge. So if we go to our side view, you can see what we have. We need to make this straight here. So this is more like the front. So we're going to add a subdivision here to push this up a little bit. So we can leave this because you can already see that the front has more, has very sharp curve compared to the back end. So we don't really need, if I add this now, you see both of them look alike and we don't want that. So I'm going to undo. I like this right here. Or we could just add one in the middle here to do this. So I think we'll add this here. Okay. So that is fine right there. So if you check this in a perspective view now, you start seeing the detail coming up. All right. Okay. So that is there for this. So if you feel this is too sharp, you could just move this back. So if I use UL to select this loop and MO, I can slide this backwards a little bit to change the sharpness. Don't want this to be too intense. So we have that part. So we're going to be looking at the images now, the image there, and be checking out some things there. So if I hit this and V, I'm copying this, so I'm going to open a new, so this is the reference image. So I'm going to open this guy up so that I can see the image we are working on. All right, so really when you're working, you need to also, there is need for you to always look at whatever you're modeling as you're modeling them. Just look at them. So I want to look at this front view. So you can see we have this edge here. So let's try and create this edge if it's possible for us to create. So if you also look at the back, so that means if you look at this shape here, okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you look at this shape for this back, you have this that goes. So this is more like one part of the object. So I'm going to be breaking this object into parts. All right. So let's try and see if it's possible for us to do that. So I will go to the side view. So let's work on the side view to start with. So this is this. So we can just increase this a little bit for us to have this definition, the opacity, so we can see the curve. So I'm going to bring up my Doodle tool to quickly create um, the outlines for you to see. So we have our Doodle. So we can quickly go out of this for a moment and let's trace out this. If I go to the Doodle paint, I can draw out the shape that I'm looking at. So let's come here. I think we'll do it section by section. So we have part here. Sorry, don't mind my drawing. So I'm just trying to, wow. So I think I'll just sketch. So we have this coming up to this place. If you see it very well, so you have this, and that goes. Then for this place, you have something that goes like this. Go straight down here. All right. So don't mind me. So let's try and get this outline. So that means this part is another part of that body. So let's quickly create this. So if you select this guy and go to the point mode and KL, so we already have this. So at this point, you don't want to move your screen, because if I move now, oh wow, that's good. This is new in this version. In the previous version, if you move out of that screen, the image goes up. So let's just finish up our painting. So I didn't even know. So we are going to have this come down. Okay, so I think the doodle ends there. Okay, so you can already see we can't do anything here at this view. All right, so let's just do this and create a new one and continue from there. So if you look at this option, new frame, delete frame. Okay, so let's just add a new frame. Okay, so we'll create a new frame and let's see if we can. So we can't do anything here. Load bitmap, this. Okay, let's just work with this here. And once we are done, we delete the frame and continue from there. So if I hit KL for loop selection, get rid of this. So we already have that point. So we are going to have this here. Okay, so let's see. We need to have a point here. All right, so we need to have one here. So we already have one here. So we'll just maybe just work with this. So if we click on this, there is a point here. Click on this, another point here. So we'll click one more point here and possibly do this. So I just need to create the points everywhere I'm going to be having this so that we can. Okay, so we have this and we'll end it. So let's try and trace out all these things. So we should have a point here. I think so. I think we've already created one. Okay, so we could just move to this. So there is a point here, another point here. So if we go to Shift V and reduce this opacity, so this one should move here. All right. So I think we should do that for both ends. So that means we're going to make use of our rectangular tool, select, then both moves. And this also will move and bring both inside. So we already have a point here. We already have another point here, another point here. So that is done for this. This one should Do you have a point here? No. So this should come down here. This one goes up there. This comes up there. And here we are going to be working with this. So this should go up and also move up. We want to trace that line. Okay, so that's for that right here. So that if I do a loop selection UL, you will see that that traces and goes that way. You can see the movement. All right, so this goes all the way here. Then we'll finish up. So I just want to finish up the top and then be done with that. So for this one here, we have a point here. So let's go to the point mode. We have a point here. Do we have any other points here? No. We have a point here. We have another point here. This point should come here. Still the same loop here that should go over to this point here. So don't mind my screen. So I'm also trying so hard to see what I'm doing. So we have that. So this is what we're tracing. There is one line here that goes there. So that line should come up here. And this line should get here. Okay, so possibly this will come in. And we'll do the same thing for this so that we make all of them. Possibly we have this. So if you check this now, this is what we have. All right. Okay. So these ones here, we are going to move them forward, and the one at the back here. So that's the reason why I didn't get there. So I'm going to move this one forward. So let's just finish up this outline. Then once we are done, we will get back to the other part. So now I'm going to select this doodle and delete. So that goes. So come back to this and Shift V and reduce this opacity so that we can see what we're doing. So we already have that. Then bring up our doodle here. Doodle paint. So we have this. We should have a point here. So let's just paint from here and move down. I think this just goes down and continues like that. Okay. So let's try and see if I can get that. So something like this. Even though I'm very far from it, I'm trying so hard to see if, so this is more like the front that goes and there. So we're going to also trace and see if we can get this. So the doodle is helping us here. So we have that. So we can't go outside this frame. Okay. So continue modeling from there. So you select this guy and point mode KL. So if you use this and reduce this opacity, so it helps also. So we already have this point here. Then we can continue from here. Add a point somewhere here. Add one here. Add one here. And this continues down. So we have one here. We'll have another one here. Here. And right here. Okay. So let's trace this out. This is fine where it is. So this comes back here. And we continue this down because there's no points there. So that means this will move here. This moves here. Okay, so you should have a point here. So I think let me check this loop again. UL. So this loop goes all the way down. So what I'm doing is I'm troubleshooting. So this loop is this is what is going to be here, not this one. So this comes here, this goes there. Okay, so fine. So we will go to this point. So this one right here, and this should come right here. This is what we want. Somewhere here. So I think we'll create a loop somewhere here and select this, move it in. So you can start seeing the outline here. So this should come. This also. So for the back, I think this is the outline. This right here. UL. So this is it. Okay. So MO and bring this down. Oh, sorry, MO will not work. I forgot because we have another one on that end. So the reason why I'm doing this is because there is, we have two sides. So we are trying to do both sides at the same time, both sides. So that's why I said MO would not work because MO only works with what we're seeing right now. So you don't have any option to select anything from the back. So that's why I'm using the rectangular selection method. Okay. All right. So just trying to think on an idea of how to do this. So this is the first approach coming to my head. So that's why I'm doing this. And if you feel you have a better approach, please do feel free to share because I'm also learning too. So if you have a better and faster approach, I don't mind so that I can learn from that and incorporate that in my workflow. All right, so thank you. I really appreciate. So we have this and that. So that settles this. So if I hit Q, you are going to have this. So you can start seeing something now. Everything is becoming flat. So this is where we now need to start tweaking these guys here. So if I click on my Q again, and we need to start bringing some things down. So this should come down a little bit. So I'll move this down, move this down, and this down. And bring this a little bit down, not up to this. This one also down. And do same here. Do the same thing with this point. It's just to round off all these things. So I'm going to leave this one right here. So this should move down and follow the flow. Okay, so this, you want to go out of that. So this comes down. So what I'm just doing is trying to follow a good pattern and flow. So if I hit Q, start seeing that this detail is coming down gradually. So that's how we gradually do this until we have everything solved. Q, so you can see that is coming up fine. So you have that. Sorry about that. Wow, I actually love cold. It rained yesterday. So Q. So I'm going to bring this down to create that curve and move this up. This also move it up. Move these guys up. Move only this one up to create that rounding. So we need to still create our own rounding here. So for this one, we'll move this up. All right, clapping, clap, clap, clap. So this comes down. All right, so we have all this moving down. So that solves that. So if I go to perspective view, you should see this right here. So even though it doesn't really look, the curvature is not, so I need to have another point somewhere here to, in order for me to make this out. So if I use QL and just do a loop here, and I can move this up. So that should solve that part. And try and do similar thing here. So this should come down a little bit. So just to round everything off. So if I hit F F1 for perspective, so this shouldn't be bad, but that is for Q, that's for that. So let's start finishing up this edge. So these guys here, I need to move them in. So if I do UL, select this loop here, not that one. Yeah, this loop, and that goes all the way down. Okay, so do similar thing here. Hold down Shift and select Ctrl Z until I get that. So once I have these guys selected, then I'm going to do a scale them in gradually, just a little bit, it's too much. Ctrl Z, and just a little bit of scaling in. Okay, so I think I'm having some artifacts. So I want to scale this along X. So I'm going to undo this and get close to this place. Even though, so if I don't want to select that point, I just get close and move this in gradually until I have this moving. So I need to get close. If I hit Q, start seeing this roundness to this. So I'm having issues somewhere here. So we'll have to look for how to fix that. So let's look at this top UL. Okay, Q. So let's look at this one here. So this is what we want to look at. Then we're going to scale this also along X. Scale this in. And also scale along, do we need to scale along Y? I don't think so. Along X, Z. So let's try and see. Okay, so we're having a problem there. Q. Let me just create an object, a material that I'm going to put here so that we can see this object more as we're working. So we have a problem here, so I can just smooth this guy. So that's, I've started, lately I've been a lot lazy and solving some issues. I try as much as to just make things as easy as possible for me. So I'm going to use brush, reduce this scale, this size. So maybe I'll bring this size to 5. Okay, so this is 5. Then I'm going to change it to smooth and reduce the strength. So let's start with 10. So I can smoothen this part. So I think 10 might be that too small. So let's go up. So we can start smoothing this guy out. So maybe I'll make this 50 now and increase this. This is just a way of being lazy and getting rid of some issues. All right, so this is just more like, okay, we are trying to do that. So let's bring this guy out. This one that we just, so that goes all the way down. So we have to try and select this. So we don't really need this doodle anymore. So we'll delete that and undo that. So we want to select this UL, select this loop and that loop. So if you check, it should trace down up to that point, which is what we want. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we can use either of these two options. You can either, okay, there's a problem here. You can see this issue here. So let's solve that first. So move this out. Control Z, because I'm sure, okay, so we just bring this out. Okay, so okay, for this should move in a little bit here, just to try and make sure everything looks nice. Okay, so we have that one. So I'm just going to look at the model and try and do some basic things. So we'll get to this. Once I'm done with this front, I'll get to this back, how to do this then, and the button, and just end the tutorial there. So this is just how to get the overview, tracing this guy and getting this overview out. So if we go to this, so like I said there are two ways or different ways. The two ways that I know of is just to model on this and just start doing inner extrusion and extruding this out. The other way is splitting this geometry so that you keep them as separate parts or separate geometry, which is what I am going to do here, because I like keeping my geometry separate so that when I'm doing anything on one part of the object, I don't really need to start moving things and doing selection. So I'm going to split this. I'm really sorry, I have cold. So I'm going to go to split. Shortcut is UP. So if I click on split, this comes up here. If I hide this, we are back with this guy here. So I will just delete this geometry. So if I delete this and that goes out, so now we now have this face and this back. So this right here is the cover. Okay. So let's just call this side cover and body. Now if we put these two guys into a null object and bring this up, we're going to have this issue here. You can see that. So what I tend to do is, because really if you look at the object, there should be this outline. But what I do is to create more of a design that gets this into this object more, and that comes up. So if I select this guy and go to edge mode, select this edge, that edge is already selected for me. So I'm still going to select this one. So UL, hold down shift and select these two edges. So once I have these edges selected, then I'm going to extrude them. So I'll use D to extrude and do this, extrude this in, and hold down shift to change the angle. So you can already see the angle down here. Okay, so I want the angle to be 90. Oh, so that extrude this inwards. Okay, I think 90 isn't really good. Control Z. Let's extrude this and bring this back a little bit out, somewhere here. Okay, so if we Q, you have this. Then if I open this guy, you have this. Then we can now start extruding this up. All right, so that is just to create a supporting edge for that part. Okay, so let's go to this and Q, go to this point mode and polygon mode and do an extrusion. D for extrude and extrude this outwards. Just a little bit of extrusion is enough. So if you check, you have this. Okay, so that's how to do that part. So you can always go back and start refining and changing the curve. You know, I was just, my doodle wasn't really that smart enough for me. So that solves this part. And if you look down, the same thing goes all the way, just like your object. So now for this front, I'm going to do an inner extrusion for us to get this part here. Okay, so you get the idea. You can always go back here and select this cover here and possibly go to this point and start working. So if I go to my side view, I can come to this place, select this and move this in. Hope you understand that. But then the problem with this now is that, you know, this one we have to select both and make sure we move both in. All right. Okay, so that's very worth knowing. So you do this here and bring this up to get the curve that you're looking for. All right, so I think that's for that. Then Q brings this thing back. All right, so let's quickly do this front. So we select this Q to get that out and select this point here, this face. So I would want to make sure, so let's look at this right here. Okay, so we have okay, trying to look at possible things I can do because of this edge here. And look at my reference. Okay, so everything should be black. Then we have that. Okay. Modeling. So I'm going to select these points, these faces. Hold down shift and add to your faces. Your face selection, hold down shift, select these faces. Okay, so we have this part. and just do inner extrusion for this, and this should give you this. Now you don't want to go outside. Can you see? You don't want to intersect. It's very important. You don't want to intersect this. So that's why I was trying as much as. So just do your extrusion here, and also you want to check down and be sure that you've not intersected anything. Okay, so that's fine in my opinion. So what I'm going to do here is to MN to dissolve everything and give me just one face. All right. So once I'm done with that, I'll do another inner extrusion. Okay, so I'll do another inner extrusion. Still, I do not want to intersect, so I'll do this and this here just for creating a supporting edge, and also be sure that this is not intersecting. So by the time we do this, I have this issue. Don't mind that. Don't worry about that. So we'll solve this in a bit. All right, so we have that. So the next thing is for us to start bringing this in and this in. So we have a point here. So let's just work on this. MO for slide, if you remember. So slide this down. So do similar thing. Slide this down until okay, so we have that, and do similar thing here under here. I know there should be one for me to slide up here. And here also you slide and now join them. Okay, so for me to join these guys, I could even slide this out here, but let's just work with that. So let's just join this. So I'm going to use my KK for knife cuts, and I'm just going to make it single cut. Sorry, not select, single line. I'm going to click from here. So I want this line to cut up to this place. And that solves that part, and do similar things again. Cut from here to this place, and that's for that. So this blue line is helping me to know where I should. Okay, I think, why did I even dissolve that? I don't know why. Shouldn't have dissolved that. So what I'm going to do is to join all these lines together. So I'm going to pause this and quickly do this while I'll be back. All right, so I am back right there. So let's quickly do this front, this black spot, then we will go to the back and stop that. Then I'm going to create a cut somewhere here. So I'm going to do KL and do a cut somewhere here. So let's just say this is going to be the center. So you can always go and do yours and make it accurate. So I'm going to create another cut here. Then this is where I'm going to have my line. So maybe I will just UL. Okay, this is the front UL, and MO to slide this up a little bit here. Then for this point, I'm going to select this point, and MS for bevel, and bevel this point out. So we have this. Then if we go to this mode, if I select this, I can do an inner extrusion. Okay, I think I should scale this even much more. So I will do an eye for inner extrusion, another one, then delete. So you would say that I have a square. How is this ever going to give me this shape? And that's true. If I turn on my disk, that's what I'm going to have. I have that shape, that opening. Okay, so if I come here, for me to bring the definition up, so I could just Q and select this UL, this one right here. I could just do a KL and add one here, okay? So add a loop somewhere here. Add another one here. So I'll hit UL to select this loop right here and extrude up. D for extrusion, and just for us to have that detail. Then if we hit Q, you should have this information. So you really see that active. Just me adding my own detail. So let's go to the back. So if you come to this back, can you check this? If I get rid of this Q, if you go to this back, you already have this, and look at this outliner. So what I'm going to do here is go to my side view, and see where I'm going to start extruding things out. So I need to create a loop somewhere here, KL, somewhere here, and somewhere here, since this is the back. So this is the loop. So if I go to this perspective, so I already have the two loops. So this one, and where's the other one? So we already have from this edge 1, 2, 3. So let's see. So from this edge 1, 2, 3, we've done that. Then from this edge just one. From this cover one. So from this cover one. So this is the loop. So this is more like the width. So we need to now get the width of that. So what we're going to do is to use the top view. So if I go to F2, I'm going to, okay, I think we are still going to use the front view right here. I'm going to use the front view. So this is the front view. And at the back, it's supposed to be somewhere here. So what we're going to do is change this camera from front to back. So it flips this. Okay. So this is what we're seeing at the back. So let's create this. I don't know if we are going to be right here. So let's try. So we already have the two guys. Then for this one, we'll do that later. So let's see. Let's switch this back to front. Okay, so that's all. So this is where we just did. So if I go back to the front view and switch this back to back, so we're going to create a loop here. We already have a loop here, so we'll possibly slide this down. But then let's see what we're going to have. So if I select this loop right here, if I select this face and hit Q, okay, so let's go to this view. I have a problem. Have an issue here, but it's not something we can't solve. So let's see. If we go to this front view, so we have that. Q. Okay, so let's try and see where our problem is. So we have this, and if we go to this edge mode, UL and MO to slide this somewhere here, Q. So this is where we are. Okay. Okay, so we're fine. So we need to extrude this out. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So if we go to our side view, we already have that. So if we go to move, it's going to highlight that point. So just control and drag this out to the height. But then we're going to have this curvature. If you don't need the curvature, just use your KL for loop selection and add a loop here. You have that. Then create another loop somewhere here. That solves this part. So if you go to your perspective view, you're going to have this effect. Okay, so if you also look at this image here, okay, you can see this inward bulge. So what I'm going to do is just the same way I did for the front. I'm going to split this guy up. But before I do the splitting, I'm going to do an inner extrusion here. So I'm going to extrude this inwards, Q to see what I have, undo that, do the extrusion a little bit somewhere here. So this is what I want. So I'm going to split. Remember shortcut for split? All right, what is it? I think it's UP. So if you right click, it's UP. Yes, up. So if you hit your U and P, that splits this guy here. So this is the main body right here, and this is the cover. So this is going to be the back cam cover. So we have the back cam cover here. So let's hide that for a moment and check this body. We are going to delete this. So we have this open. All right. So if we select this body and go to this and select this UL, so what we want is to select this loop. So we'll get rid of this, sorry. Select that loop. Then we're going to extrude this inwards. So I'll use my normal move and extrude this in, just like this. And if you click on Q, you have this effect. All right, coupled with your front, I have this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do similar thing to this. Don't mind this jagged edge. If we come here and increase this, starts having more detail. All right, so that's the one. Just want to work with this too. So if I select this cover and hide this body for a moment, UL to select this loop. So I will just select this. Don't worry, I'm going to deselect some things I don't need. So I'm deselecting this. So we are fine here. So what we can do is to also do similar things. So extrude this inwards. If you hit Q, see what you have. So for my definition, I'm going to add a loop somewhere here at the middle. And that solves that. Then for this outer parts, I'm going to do an inner extrusion here to define that. Q, you have this. So let's bring this back together. So we have this form. Okay, so that's how you do that part and this other part. Okay, so let's see. We're good for this. Then for this front, what I usually do is to create another layer for my camera, for my glass, and that's just pretty much the same process. Just select this and select it and just split up. So for this guy, I'm going to have two layers, one for the camera and one for. So if you come over to this place, so let's assume this guy here is the glass. Then we are going to duplicate this and bring this down. So this is going to be the normal camera, which will be inside. So all we just need to do to this one is just to offset this inwards a little bit, just bring this in. So if I Control A and select everything and go to either of these view, yes, I want to move this along my Z axis. So I'll deactivate everything and go to move and just move this inwards a little bit, just to offset this a little bit. So this becomes the camera and the this becomes the glass, and this is going to be the camera inside it. So I'll come back here and hide the glass and work on the camera. So let's work on the camera. So if we come to this view, we're already at the back, so we want to start layering up, doing all these things where we're going to have our camera. It's just the same way we did the front. Create a layer, create a cut where you're going to have this and do that. So let me just do this to let's just do everything anyways, because time is already up. We've already spent almost 1 hour here. So I am going to select this and deselect everything. Then KL to add a loop, be in my point mode. Add the loop at the center point where I'm going to have the camera. Add one here. Okay, and add one here for this. Add one here for this. Add one here for that. So you already know why I'm adding this camera, this point, because I want to select this and this and this and this and that. So that is the reason why I'm doing that. Then I'm going to do MS for what is it called here, for bevel. Sorry about that. So before I bevel this, I'm going to undo. I'm going to go to this edge mode, select this edge here, UL. Let's use stop at edge. So we're going to MO to slide this down so we have no intersection with the camera whatsoever. Let's check this. There is no intersection with this. So maybe this should come down a little bit. MO, come down. This one doesn't have an intersection. This is an intersection here. Select this MO and bring this up. So by the time we're doing our bevel, we're not going to have any intersect. So MS for bevel, start beveling this up. Notice by the time you get to intersections and intersect, you have this blue dot rather. So let's just have up to this section here. We just want to have a rough placement. Okay, so we have that. If we go to this point mode or polygon mode, you can select this, hold down shift and start selecting these polygons. So we have that. So let's use this as an illustration. I for inner extrude, one here, one here. We are bringing this up. This here, right here, we are moving this down. So I'm going to go to my perspective view. So this one, we are going to move it in a little bit. then go back, another one here, then the last one here. Okay, so let's see what we have. So if we come out and Q, this is what we're going to have for the camera. So if you have the camera texture, you can just add that there. But if you notice, I selected the point that I want to bring up on this. So if you come to your and get rid of this for a moment, and this is the point right there. So I have 1, 2, and this. So this point I'm bringing this up. Yes, I'm bringing this point up. So UL, I think I should add one small loop here. Do the same thing here before I and here and there. So 2 more here and then here. This is taking too long, so I think I'm going to just do the extrusion and end this. So I'll do a UL. So I don't want to select this. This is what I want to select. I'll do the same thing here. I'm not selecting this. This is what I want to select. Hold down Shift. Do the same thing for this. Select this. Select that. Select this. So if we go to your perspective view, these are what we have selected. So I'm going to extrude this. Maybe we want to extrude in or out. So then we did the extrusion out. So let's do extrusion in here. You can just do this. So first extrusion, second extrusion, and that's it. If you click this and go out, so you have this information here. So this becomes your glass. So if you create a glass object here and bring up this and make it very glass and put it on top of this glass, so you see through. So maybe we are going to make this a tinted glass after all. So if you come here and tint this glass, maybe get rid of that, you start seeing the effect. So you still see through because we have that out. So that is the effect I was trying to look out for here. All right, so I think I'm going to stop the tutorial here. So for the button, I think we've already spent 1 hour and 3 minutes. All right, so for the button, everything is fine. So we could just pretty much put a primitive object there. And so if you look at this, it's just more like a cube that we're going to use for this. So let's quickly do this and be done. Front view and change this. Sorry. So we change this back to front. Don't forget always. So you can see the right. So I think we are going to be in our side view. No, front. Then create our object. Because we're going to have this guy pushing out here. All right. So this is the front. So if we create a cube object and squash this inwards a little bit, come out here, and this should move up. So you can already see the positioning that we are aiming at. So we take this, move this in, and move it out. Then possibly maybe we want to add a little bit of fillet into this. So maybe this should be 1.5 after all. Then we have that button, then create a duplicate, Ctrl Z. Okay, so this should move up. Not that. Okay, so we have that. So maybe this should be 1. So if I move out, you see your button here. Okay, so we have to come back here and change this size. So bring this size down here. So maybe we'll make this 5. Then we have to go to our side view and check what we have. Okay, so I think I need these guys to glow. So they are really disturbing my V. So if I hit Shift V here, it takes me here. If I go to this display, I want an outline every time I select my object, so that's fine. So if you look at these, I need to bring them in here. So if we check what we have, so this is the button. So if you feel that this button, you need to bring it out more, just select them, push them out even further. And that solves that, really. So that's not much of a big deal. Is this supposed to be on this side or the other side? It's on the side of the camera. Oh God. So we're taking this here. Because I know that buttons should not be there. This should be somewhere here. And this solves this. And we're done with this camera S20. So if you feel this was helpful, please do give me a like and a thumbs up. And if you feel you have a better way or there are things I wasn't doing right, please do tell me. I would really love to learn from you. And also keep just I don't know what to say anymore. So just do have a wonderful day and God bless you. Bye.